Alright, and here is the video review for Takara Tomy Legends God Bomber. As you can see, he's attached to Jinrai here, and that's a simple matter to fix. But he does work here as the trailer. He does have some pivot points here, so you can turn, have him pose in curved positions as well as just pull straight. But he does attach and roll with Legends Prime, or Legends Jinrai, I guess, very easily. He's clipped in there. I was going to actually unclip it. Like, you have to kind of, there's a slot here on the back of Jinrai, and there's a little tab here with some ridges on it. So you have to kind of crack open Jinrai's back end just a little bit down here, attach the clip, and then re-snap Jinrai's rear end together. Let's just turn it sideways here so you can see it. But get that in that groove, and then snap these pieces back together around it, and then he's attached as a trailer. And you just pop him apart, pop him off, and there he is. And now we'll just focus on God Bomber himself. So yeah, Jinrai by himself is a trailer, and he's got, or not Jinrai, God Bomber. He's got this little cannon that does angle. You can kind of get it to stay at an upward angle, but it's got like a detent back here, and there's a detent at the front, and there's supposed to be one in the middle to keep it from drooping, but it still droops a little bit. It's not my favorite cannon. And you can open up the front here, and you can see there's some room for some Titan Masters. We've got Ghost Shooter, Shuffler, and then God Bomber's Headmaster himself right here. Or Titan Master, I guess. But 3 of them can sit in the front here, both in armor mode and his little trailer mode here. We'll go ahead and take them out because we will need to take them out for transformation. But let's go ahead and pop them out here. Yeah, so you've got that. You got some little hidden missile launchers in here as well for armor mode. But there's the trailer, and like I said, aside from the moving cannon and the little seats, not a whole lot to it. And he's just as much of a parts former as old God Bomber was. You can pop the cannon off. You can see his helmet stores back here, the sword and everything. And once you pop the cannon off, it's technically possible to transform him without pulling anything off. But you're going to want to go ahead and pull these arms off, because I guarantee you they're going to fall off anyway. They peg in a little loosely, and they're kind of a pain in the butt to deal with during the transformation process. These can angle up. You can also have those as weapons in trailer mode as well. So yeah, like I said, it's easier to just go ahead and unpeg these. They just kind of tab in on one side of this connector and then plug in on this side of the connector. Those will be his arms. Go ahead and pop those off. And this is the main body of the trailer. You go ahead and flip his feet down. Pull these side panels down here. Bring his legs down and about like that. Go ahead and unpeg these. And bring this whole assembly up. You can kind of fold this up and down. This little clip that attached him to Jinrai rotates up behind the waist plate, so it's not just sticking out all the time. That will become his back. And then some little tabs here. Before we do that, you want to open up this up and flip this, the panel that was behind the Titan Masters forward and up. That's where the socket for his Titan Master is. Plug that in, and then make sure, bring this up, and then when you close this up, you want to make sure that this is sitting above these tabs on the back. These are what support this thing and keep it from collapsing back down into his body. And then these panels tab on these little tabs right here on the side. If I can get that lined up properly. There we go. And lock those into place. You can kind of see there he is as a robot sitting down. You want to rotate the wings around to his back, and they're on hinges. You can fold them back. You can angle them down or up, however you want. On the old toy, they kind of angled up a little bit like that in robot mode, but it's entirely up to you how you want to position those. Bring the arms down. You see there's the elbows. And then we'll take these panels, flip out the hands inside of them, flip up the thumb, and then they'll reattach the same way. There's a tab here, the tab's in right here, and then this pegs in on the front, like that. There is a double hinge right here, so make sure that's horizontal to make sure that's aligned with the panel that has the little wing gun on it, because if that's folded down, you can't really get it to peg in. You want to have it be a perfect square. And then this panel just it's kind of a forearm filler. It just kind of folds in like that to get out of the way and give some definition to that arm. And the same thing on the other side. Tab it in back here. Flip out his hand. So tab that on, wrap it around, peg it on the front, fold that panel down, and there you go. Let's go ahead and stand them up. By just bringing the legs down. And again. Now, unfortunately, every time you move the wings, the way the arm assembly works, he kind of does whatever. And these are on little hinges inside there, so they'll get a little wobbly, but stand them up like so. And then we'll see if we can get the whole thing in. This is what I was talking about in the arms. If you move the wings, the arm tends to move with it. Although they do rotate independently, so you can position those wings. Like I said, if you want to have them sticking straight up, you want to have them down to the back, if you want to fold them down to a side, it does get in the way a little bit, but you can do that. I'll take his little Titan Master here, fold them in half, and there's his face. Cool face for Titan Masters. That might work well on 6-shot, but a neat little face there for under the helmet. His helmet stores on the back of the gun, and you just pop it off. It just pegs on right here. And once that's off, you can open this up and seat a Titan Master in here if you want to man the cannon. You can have him sit in there like that. There are also a couple little Titan Master pegs inside there, so you can have him stand in there as well. There's the cannon. Go ahead and plug his head on. And then the helmet just slides right on over that. And he's got 2 peg holes up here on his shoulders, and you can plug the cannon into either one of those. Now, here, the cannon doesn't droop as badly because it's sitting on this blue hinge that sticks up through the shoulder. It's resting on it and keeping it sturdy. You can angle it a little bit up, although because of you'd have to take the sword piece here, stores under there. You can pull that out and give him a sword. And you can angle this up a little bit. But the detent to hold it is way up here. It's at a really odd angle, and there's nothing in between. Like if you let it go, it will go to mostly straight, but you can see it's even sagging because now that sword's not there, it doesn't rest on that hinge, and it tends to just naturally, even if you don't touch it, droop down like that, which is a little disappointing. I would have liked a little bit more ratchet in this, and you can see it's warped a little bit. Maybe I can fix that, but just a little bit more tension in this thing would have been nice to have it at a slight angle without having to stick it straight up, or almost straight up here. But yeah, the sword, you can pull this out. He can't really hold it because of his hands. You can kind of squeeze him in there. He's got posable fingers here. Or maybe he has a little tab in there, can hold it. And then a thumb on a ball joint. But if you pop the missile off and push these 2 side panels down, this whole assembly comes out. You pull the missile back off, reattach it to the gun, and then you can combine the hilt and the sword. You can see there's a tab here on the sword, just like that. And it does actually attach. There's a little tab here. So you can clip that onto his hand. And give him a sword. Although now the sword is backwards, I guess there's a tab on both sides of the handle. That's nice. So you can have the sword facing the proper direction. You can peg it into either hand facing forward. You can kind of wrap the fingers around it. And now he's got a sword. And posability, like he's got the Titan Master neck, so he's got a ball joint there. He does have the swivel here at the shoulder, but does move the wing unless you hold one or the other steady. But he's got ratchets at the shoulder, a bicep swivel, although again, swivel it from the bicep because you can see how easily these pop off. It goes back on, pull that back in. He does have wrist swivel. He's got the ball jointed thumb and the hinged fingers. He does have some outward hip movement. It's mostly due to the transformation hinge inside his body. He does have ratcheting hips forward and back, ratcheting knees. He does have a ratcheting swivel at the knee. And the knee is on a double hinge, so you get a decent range of motion out of it. And he's got a little bit of front, toe manipulation, but he doesn't have any ankle tilt. But there's GODBOMBER. And just for a quick size comparison, here he is with Jinrai. And it's kind of neat the way they end up being similarly sized robots, despite the fact their transformations are kind of reversed. Like Jinrai compacts for robot mode from his truck mode, where he's mostly hollow in truck mode, and then you kind of, especially the trailer, and you fold everything down around and collapse it to make a robot this size. Whereas GODBOMBER is exactly the opposite. He is compacted down to form his small little trailer, and then kind of opens up and is a little hollow. You can see his arms are very hollow pieces. Although his body itself, when it all collapses, is fairly compact, and there's not a whole lot of empty space in there. But he expands out for robot mode. And of course, he does become armor for Jinrai, which is really kind of the showcase here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll pop his Titan Master off, and his helmet, and set those off to the side. I'm going to set all the Titan Masters back into the chest plate / cockpit on GODBOMBER here. We'll take the sword out and pop the gun off. And then we'll go ahead and pop his arms off. Those will become the arms for Jinrai, although he will use his regular hands, so we'll go ahead and fold the thumb in here and close that hand up into there. And again, fold the hand up, make sure that thumb kind of goes down in there. And those are ready for combination. And his legs actually use the Combiner Wars connection points. So some people have done it. I'm not going to go digging out my Combiner Wars figures to do it, but you can, if you want, you can give GODBOMBER Combiner Wars limb legs, or use these as legs on Combiner Wars figures if you're really that into it. And to prep Jinrai, we'll go ahead and pop his guns off, and everything else we can leave standard. Let's put those off to the side. So we start off here. I'm going to bring the foot forward like that, and kind of fold this up here like this, and that's the foot done. This is going to clip on to the bottom. Let's get them both prepared. Bring the foot down and fold this up. And there are the feet. And we'll come down, let's focus down here for a minute. And the feet, you want to fold these up a little bit. And you can use these to support him if he leans a little bit. But these feet are going to clip on. This clip goes on the outside of this blue piece, and then this will kind of clip on into the foot. So you just kind of rotate that in, and then clip this on to the foot itself. And now you've got a bigger foot on Jinrai, and we'll do the same over here. And there you go. And then you take these guns, you can attach them right down here onto the foot, like old classic. Other way. Although you can attach using either one of the pegs, but these bring them forward a little bit more. This peg's a little further back on the gun, so it has them actually breaking the plane of the front foot, which I think looks a little better. And then to prep his arms, I'll come up here, rotate my stand here so it doesn't fall backwards. And you'll extend them out just like this, as if you're going to vehicle mode, but just leave them extended like that. And then we'll take these panels. And just like before, we're going to use that double hinge here. These peg holes right here peg on to the forearm. And then you rotate this around to the side, and there's a little piece here. This little blue piece here clips in under this bit on the forearm. Pegs in like that, and this piece folds around like this, and then this panel kind of just sits up behind there like that. And that secures the forearm guards with Jinrai's original hands there sticking out. And same over here. We'll take this little clip and we'll slide it up behind here first, and then we'll fold this down again along that double hinge. So again, let's plug that in, fold that down and peg it into the arm like that. Fold that panel down, flip this, fold this flat against that. That locks it on fairly well. Then fold that up behind it. And now these panels don't seem quite as out of place sticking angled back like they did before. And now the chest armor. And this is where it gets a little tricky because there's a couple different ways you can configure this. So we'll go ahead and pop this open, flip the headpiece back down. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and hide the Titan Masters in here again. You don't have to do this, I just think it's fun. Now there is an exclusive set coming out that comes with Jinrai and GODBOMBER, and also includes Cab and Minerva Titan Masters, which I'm a little kind of sad that they're doing that in a whole separate set. But if you want to have some, and they can sit on either side of GODBOMBER's Headmaster. So if you want to have that set, that's available now. I think a lot of retailers are carrying that. All right, here we go. So you open this up, crack these panels open, and fold it around so they sit like this behind him. This will fold up here. This comes together to the middle, just like that. And then on this side, like I said, you bring this up, you rotate this out. The wing will sit in front of this gray piece, and this piece can fold in, bring it down, bring it over and around so that hinges to the inside, and lock it in place. And then these pieces snap together like this. These pieces will fold up onto the backpack, and this is essentially the armor here. You bring it flat like this and then fit it over Jinrai's head. Let me see if I can't raise my camera up a little bit here. There we go. And so yeah, there's a couple little clips here, and I wish these were a little better. These are very thin, and I'm afraid they're going to break. And then these little pegs here, or little peg holes here. These peg holes peg in over, these blue pieces right here peg in up here, and it's a little tricky to get this snapped on. You kind of want to come at it and clip it and fit it over that peg. And one side is not difficult. Getting the other in is a little bit, of course, that time it works just fine. So then you just kind of bring this down, snap it into place, and then snap this whole thing onto the front of his body. And there's the upper part of Jinrai. We'll show off the whole thing in a minute. Now, the helmet in this configuration kind of just pegs in. There's a couple little grooves here. And it does help hold the there we go. Kind of hold those together, but there's an alternate configuration that we'll show off in a minute that I think looks better. If you do that, you can give him the sword. You can put these guns. There's a little peg hole. You can peg these guns up here as back weapons. Well, you get the idea. There we go. And there's, knocked his helmet off. The helmet does not stay in there super tightly. There we go. And then, of course, you can attach this cannon to either one of the peg holes up here on his shoulder. Now again, it droops. You can have it angle up like that, which is a really silly way of doing it. And he's starting to droop here too. Sometimes I can get him to sit in this pose where he's pretty sturdy, and sometimes he likes to just start drooping backwards. That's... Oh, his missile fell out. We'll fix that. There we go. That's not too bad. But yeah, you kind of have to play with his legs here to get them to stay in a position where he'll stay not falling down. But it's doable. And he's kind of in a wide-legged stance. I've had him standing. I've taken plenty of pictures of him standing in a normal stance, and it's possible. Right now I'm just trying to shoot this thing. But there he is with in the standard configuration. Again, that gun is super droopy, and I wish there was a way to lock it into place horizontally. Because otherwise it's up like that. And even that is not super sturdy. It doesn't take much bumping for it to just kind of right back down. And I wish there were some way to lock it in. Like if I could just lock it in just a slight angle like that, I'd be happy. And maybe there's a way I can figure that out. But there he is in full Jinrai mode. Let's see if I can get him to stand better in a more natural pose and show off, do a quick size comparison of him with non-armed. There we go, that'll work. I've got the American version here just to give you an idea of just how much bulk he adds to him. Yeah, let's focus this. So yeah, it makes him much bigger. Now, there is an alternate configuration for the wings, which I think looks much better. It makes him a little less tall, but oh well. We'll go ahead and pop these guns off. This helmet can pop off because we're not going to have it in that same position anyway. If you take this whole assembly, come here, you. I hate these backpack clips. There we go. Basically, you rotate this whole assembly around and up, just down, rotate it around so this sits like this. You can bring the wings down. You fold this back, bring the wings down and back. You can actually bring the wings in front too if you wanted, but I just wonder there was a different way of doing this. Oh, see, that gun just popped right out of that clip. There we go. But yeah, again, bring this up, rotate this whole piece around on the hinge. So the leg pieces come up around to the back, on the upper back. That's not right. I'll bring it around like this. There we go. So the inside of his chest piece is facing out on to the sides. Reattach it. You know, you attach it here like this, and you got to do some fiddling. Bring those up, bring the wings out. Pop his foot back on because that fell off. Because of course it did. I'm actually trying to do something here. So, reattach the feet. Rotate these down and forward. And then you can take this, you can hide this, and rotate this around here at the point. Same here. Tuck that back and away. Even rotate all the way back and hide his helmet on here. And in this configuration, if you want, you can still get the back guns. You can take these and you can plug them in up here. If you want to give him some cannons back here. Personally, I just when I do this configuration, I just take this. Like I said, I wish the legs, for all the work that went into making this work, it's just a shame the legs are such a pain in the butt. Oh look, now you're, oh no, you're not. See, now you're just going to stand there like a normal person, but you're not. I usually like to put the sword pieces back in, give him his rifles, like the old toy you did. Like I said, put the sword back in here. And slide the sword piece back through. And plug this in. And again, you can kind of get it to rest horizontally. It still droops a little bit. But then you've got more of a traditional looking God Jinrai. You can pretend, like I said, you do have these leg things. You can flip those around to the back if you want. I think they look okay as different kind of shoulder cannons up there. And then the wings sit behind the shoulders in a more traditional fashion. I just think that's a much better looking overall combined mode. But it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. And again, just to show you the back, just to see how all that's configured there. Still stores his helmet. I just think it's a much nicer looking God Jinrai. There's also a base mode for God Bomber that, like, as floppy as he is, you kind of have to pull the legs off and set them. It's there if you want it. So yeah, when you find a good stable configuration, and like I said, here he is standing up straight, bumping the table. He's standing up okay. So it's just a matter of fiddling with those legs until you can get them solid enough to your liking, because they will be. You can get them to be fairly secure, and it's a little easier when you're not reaching around a camera to do it. But it's a shame that for all of the cool engineering that went into making this work, that a few of the connections and things were just a little more solid. You can see the Titan Master is still hiding in his chest. Actually, go ahead and pop that open just to show you. You can have him riding there with the hidden missile launchers. But it's a very well designed figure. Maybe I know the Americans are getting in that Attack on Cybertron set or whatever that one is that comes with, you know, Thunderwing and Pounce and Tidal Wave, and there's a Jinrai in that, or Magnus Prime, I think is what they're calling him. Maybe they'll fix those feet. It's basically an American release of the Jinrai mold. So there may that so it's not as loose. That would be nice. I would love it if that LG-EX set that comes with both, along with Cab and Minerva, could find a way to fix those things. Takara is usually a little bit better about that than Hasbro, but we'll see. But all in all, it's a very impressive looking robot, all combined, and a much more streamlined version of God Jinrai than the old toys were. And I do have an original Power Master Optimus Prime. I don't have the only full with God Bomber version I have is Fire Guts, and he is not here. He's on display at work, so otherwise I'd pull him out and show you how the two compare. But yeah, it's like I said, you're basically buying him. I feel like most of the appeal of this figure is to make the armor for Jinrai, and if you're willing to fiddle with the legs to get him to stand properly, he's really nice at that. His robot mode is cool. It's a nice size, but again, the arms pop off, and he's not great. And in trailer mode, he's just a box with a gun on it. It's cool to attach the rope to the vehicle mode. It's nice that they retain that functionality, but like, he's gonna go on Jinrai's armor here, and this is probably how he's gonna be displayed on my shelf for who knows how long. I am gonna see if I can fix that cannon so it's not droopy all the time. But I feel like the problems on this one, the coolness factor of the armor outweighs some of the issues I have with the figure itself. I really do like this look and this design, but he's fiddly. He, like I said, there's some problematic issues that if they fixed would bump this up a few notches for me. I feel like if you're going to get God Bomber, you're probably going to go ahead and get this anyway. I just feel like it could have been, for importing and paying the price of importing, I feel like it could have been baked a little longer in the oven. I feel like there are a few things that, like these back clips, this cannon's hinge system. The cannon itself, I think, is fine. It's that hinge system right there, and the way that they're fine here in armor mode. The way they attach to God Bomber in robot mode, and even kind of in vehicle mode, I feel could have been a little bit more secure, and a little more research into making sure the feet were a little bit more, or the ankles specifically, especially since they remolded the Power Master Prime mold specifically to give him more G1-esque version feet with the intent of God Bomber coming down the road. I feel like they maybe could have play tested that connection a little better to make the ankles a little stronger. So it's not perfect. It's a really nice looking figure. I'm very happy with it, all attached. But like I said, it could have been better. If you're a big fan of this look here with the armor, it's worth picking up. If you're buying it for a toy to play with, you could probably skip it. It's not, as a toy itself, it's not super fun. As armor for Jinrai is pretty cool.